أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Yes, students, today we will discuss the international trade. The lesson is lifelines of the Indian economy. What do you mean by the international trade? International trade. First, you try to understand what is international trade. Actually, exchange of goods among people. Trade is defined as the exchange of goods among people, states, and countries is referred to as trade. This trade, where it takes place, market, it is the place where this exchange of goods take place. Trade between two countries is called the international trade. Actually, when the exchange of goods take place between the two nations, between the two countries, it is called the international trade. It takes place through air, land, or sea routes. While local trade is carried in cities, in towns, and in villages, and the state level trade takes place between the cities. Now, the advancement of international trade of a country is an index to its economic prosperity. That is it is a tool, it is the barometer. It is called the barometer of for a country. How we can understand what is the how much the country is progressing. So it is also called the economic barometer for a country. So it measures what is the trade of the country, in which direction the country is going. It gives us that index. So it is the advancement of the international trade of a country is an index to its economic prosperity. As the resources are space bound, so no country in the world can survive without international trade. So there is no possibility for any country to survive without this international trade, because all the countries in the world, they have the different resources. One country may be rich in one resource, it may be deficient in other resources. So when the resource of one country goes to the other country, and the resource in return comes, which is needed by the other country, goes there. In this way, the trade takes place, and by this way, the nation can progress. So we can say export and import are the two components of a trade. So some countries, they export, and also a country can import. So these are components of a trade, because the country which is deficient in some resource, they will import few resources from the other countries. At the same time, that country may have sufficient resources. Those resources can it export to the other country. So this export and import, these are the two components of the trade. The development of the nation takes place by importing and exporting the goods. But there is at the same time, which one must be maximum, either export or import. Now, that is called the balance of trade. Balance of trade of a country is a difference between export and import. So balance of trade is of a country is the difference between export and import. When value of export increases the value of import, it is called favorable balanced trade. When export increases, value of the export increases than the value of the import, then it is called the favorable trade. But if import exceeds the value of exports, then it is called the unfavorable trade. Then the trade is not favorable, is not in the favor of the country whose value of export is more, is less than the value of imports. So all the countries, India as at present, India is also deficient in many resources. So he imports those resources from the other countries. At the same time, it exports few resources to the other countries, right? Like agricultural products, it imports, it exports, while as the imports, it imports many things, petroleum products and the gold, etc. It imports those sources from the other countries. In this way, this in international trade is one of the major tool in order to progress. When a country has to progress, it must give the attention towards its international